And you're welcome. It's time for the dailies now. Let's let you guys know exactly what to expect when it comes to the papers that you will be perhaps picking up this morning. Of course, I have Titi here with me. Titi, thank you for joining.
You are so welcome. There's a lot to talk about on the covers of the dailies this morning.
Yes, indeed. I'm going to be starting with the Punch newspaper. And front and center for the Punch newspaper, we have these headlines. I'll circle back to it, by the way. Retire now, Presidency tells Atiku. Ex-VP rubbishes Supreme Court judgment. Apex Court legitimizes illegality. Atiku insists, urges INEC to verify credentials. And Atiku's presidential ambition doomed. Ex-VP desperate, say APC presidency. At the bottom of the page, under the photo story for the Punch, Rivers Assembly in crisis as Wike's loyalists move to impeach Fubara. There's more. Ohanese Soludo mourn as legal icon Nwabweze dies at 94, and Taraba government mourns 100 boat accident victims, orders probe. At the top for the Punch, Tinubu canvasses 2 trillion naira discos recapitalization tariff review, and FG approved 2.2 trillion naira supplementary budget. 70 corpses, skeletons uncovered near Abia cattle market, say the government on page 7. That was worrying to see on social media yesterday. We might revisit that on another paper headline. But going to the presidency and the issue with the ex-VP and rubbishing the Supreme Court judgment, is it about time? It's been 30 years that Atiku's been vying for the presidency, and many would say that perhaps maybe it's okay, take a back seat on this. It's the fury, let me not use the word fury, but the fervor of which he's going about this
fervor, yeah, fervor, that's the word.
Which is, thank you very much, the present instance that's really beginning to irritate the APC and the disregard for the Supreme Court.
So nobody is saying, you know, people shouldn't have a dream. And fighting for that dream, no matter how hard you want to fight. And some people are saying, you know what, fight as hard as you can. But there does come a time where the people around you are probably giving you some advice, probably, giving you good counsel, and then those people stop listening. When is it time to start listening to the, different voices?
Yeah, different voices.
Different voices.
What paper do you have?
We have The Guardian with us here, and it says here, licenses of 17 discos, Gencos due for renewal or revocation November 1st. Now, the logos are all right there on the cover of The Guardian. Page 6 has a lot more on that. I have a feeling that story is going to be an interesting read. Crisis in Rivers as Assembly splits. Get 2 speakers, moves to impeach Fubara. UBA records 115% growth. PBT rises by 263% to 502.1 billion naira. Price of rice increases by 60.59% in 1 year, as transport fares rise by 117.29%. Now, I think I should just pause on that one. And
as
ask
a homekeeper,
homemaker, I guess that's the term.
Yes.
When you think about the price of rice being a staple food, not just for Nigeria, around the world, and something that we can actually produce here in the country, it does feel extremely troubling as to how hard it is for a family to even just consume a cup of rice these days. I know of some families who literally go to the store and buy a cup of rice every day in order to just cook for their family.
We are experiencing the highest food inflation instance in Nigeria currently.
Yeah.
However, there are arguments that we are not at the worst of it because other countries, especially even here in Africa, Ghana, for instance, are experiencing even worse than we are. May God not let us see it like Lebanon ever did, because that is an extreme case. It's not something that you want to see. I'm going to move on now to the Nation news.
I'm still an advocate for home farms, by the way.
Yeah, Titi's still on this.
I've always been on this home farm thing, and it's been working for me in terms of vegetables. I've mentioned this, so I don't buy ewedu or okra or what's it called again? This ugu. I don't buy it anymore. I grow it, and I just pluck it from my garden now. So I'm reducing. You don't
costs. You've got the environment for it. Not everybody can afford to.
This is balcony farming. This is inside buckets. It's easy.
You know how luxurious you live?
Yeah, wow, wow.
The Nation newspaper has these headlines. Rivers quakes as governor gets impeachment notice. It goes on. Assembly split into two factions. Sacks CJ. Fabura fires Wike's loyalist, says, I can't be impeached. There's more on that. FEC okays 2.17 trillion naira 2023 budget, and Nigeria-Germany signed $700 billion liberation pact. Hang on, my phone's a bit iffy here. Yes. And then at the very bottom of the page for the Nation newspaper, we have this here. Saudi hospital to separate Kano conjoined twins. Aimida, that's the
Ayedi Tower.
Ayedi Tower.
No,
Ayedatiwa, sorry. Ayedatiwa, rather,
Yeah.
back in court. Thanks for the correction. Did you hear the story about the conjoined twins in Kano? Now, they're conjoined at the chest, and they apparently share vital organs. It was very relieving to see that the Saudi Arabian hospital offered that they were going to help with this case. As a scientist, personally, I'm very curious to see what would happen, because this is a very critical type of Siamese instance where they share organs, and it's going to be a very delicate surgery if they go through with it. I think they are about, if not already, to be flied out of the country. But we will.
Thankfully, in the interest of science and the interest of learning medical science, students need to see these surgeries happen. So it is also a plus for them being able to teach, young doctors.
Home.
Yes.
And also bring it back home.
Exactly.
Daily Times, real quick. We've got this one here. Cop shot at me, says the River State Governor Fubara. He tells smoke engulfs, or rather tear gas him. Smoke engulfs State Assembly axis. Lawmakers serve Fubara impeachment notice. Clark fingers Wike as Tinubu to discipline ministers. There's more on the Daily Times. We'll come back to that story. Atiku claims Supreme Court legalized illegalities, fears for democracy. And at the bottom of the Daily Times, FECO case decision on supplementary budget of 2.2 trillion for defense security. Teenage robbers on the rise in Delta State. Senate uncovers payment of an approved 14 billion naira salary increment in the Mint. Let's talk River State. The issue from yesterday, tear gas, getting shot at, plenty that he had to say, the governor Fubara. There's also the story about how split the assembly is in the fire that actually engulfed parts of the
National Assembly.
The National Assembly.
Yeah. Or House of Assembly, right?
House of Assembly. There's so much going on, and it would seem that these are, if you would permit what people are saying, a bit on the personal side of things when it comes to who governs the state after Wike, who's currently the FCT minister.
Yeah.
They claim, the claims are that he still has a hand in the governance with loyalists in places, and these loyalists are also responsible for the impeachment notice that has been served to the present government. It's a messy situation. And you want,
I do believe
what else is suffering when the governance of a state is at the eye of such a storm.
So there is a lot, those that come from Port Harcourt or from River State. Well, I say Port Harcourt because, that's
the icon.
Now, people that come from there often say it is a different kind of space. And you have to be, in quotes, a different type of person to be able to run that kind of space. You have to be one of them. You have to understand their language, how they think. And in truth, no matter who sits at the top, the people are always likely going to lean towards the person that they, understand the most, the person that they identify with the most. And so I guess it remains to be seen where this is going and who exactly is running things. But the truth is, I just feel like we have so much more access to information these days, and it makes it seem different, like there's something different happening. I feel like this is something that's always happened.
Doesn't make it right. Doesn't make it.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't.
No excuses for what's happening. Well, thank you very much for staying with us through the papers.